Hi, you guys might be wondering what I'm holding. So, this is about the absence of several members of parliament during recent parliamentary session has sparked concern among the public. At Dataran Merdeka, a political activist has been gathering signatures for petition calling for stricter attendance among MPs. To understand what promote this initiative, we spoke to Roshinee about what led her to launch the petition.
So I've known about parliamentary petition as a parliamentary process for a few years for a few years now, but I never had the opportunity to actually put it into action. So this year, specifically in the last parliamentary sitting, if you recall, there was the failure to pass the PM's bill, right, on his 10-year limit. I think that really was a very frustrating thing to watch as a citizen, because the failure of that was not based on principle, but because of logistic, but because it failed by 2 votes. And it shows how parliamentary absenteeism can delay progressive reforms from being enacted swiftly. And that's why I decided to make use of parliamentary petition process to put this issue forward. And I think it's a really great way for citizens to have more agency and demand direct action from our parliamentarians. Because if this parliamentary petition goes through, it is submitted and accepted by Parliament, then Malaysian MPs are forced to provide a response to us on this issue. And I am very curious to know what they have to say on this.
She also shared the real impact of absentees MPs and the consequences faced by the constituents when their representatives are not present in parliament.
As I mentioned just now, it is a loss for our reform. Given the using the example from just now, where we were unable to limit the Prime Minister's tenure, that's an example of how progressive reforms are not being able to be implemented swiftly. Number 2 is also a huge loss of representation for the citizens who had voted for these MPs to represent them in the highest decision-making body in our country. Not to mention, parliamentary absenteeism also erodes the trust of the people in democratic structures. Because can you imagine, right, when we look into the parliament sittings and we see half of it or more is empty, and it makes you wonder, if parliamentarians themselves don't take it seriously, then why should we as citizens take it seriously?
Roshinee also addressed concerns raised by the public, particularly questions surrounding the petition process and on the need for personal details. She explained that the formal process only allows Malaysian citizens to participate and the details are needed for verification when it is submitted to Parliament. Meanwhile, when asked about the challenges she faced, this was a response.
I don't know if there's any specific challenge on this per se. I think it is a valid concern from people to ask me how I'm handling their sensitive data, right? And obviously it's just my responsibility to take care of it. So on my side, it's definitely a policy between me and those who are assisting me. I only have a few trusted people who will be handling the petition documents with the signed signatures to ensure that there's minimal people involved in the process who has access to this data. Also, I will not be keeping any copies or taking any pictures of the signed documents. Once I've collected enough, this will go straight to the MP to then send it straight to Parliament. No copies will be made on my side. Yeah.
Individuals we spoke to who signed the petition said they believe it is their responsibility as Malaysian citizens to hold the government accountable. While acknowledging uncertainty over whether the petition will lead to immediate change, they say taking action is still an important first step. They added that providing personal details was not a problem, as it lends a greater credibility and weight to the petition.
I don't really mind to provide my personal particulars. It's a petition anyway, so I think if you provide your personal information, it holds more power compared to just an online signing. Honestly, I don't really know if it holds enough power, but I think it's important that at least we try, and that is a good first step.
I think attending the parliament is the most basic thing MP should do, and it's why we elect them to the parliament. So if the reason we elect them is just to clean the drain and clean all the trees, right? Where they have local council for those, so those actually are not their main concern. Their main concern is for the development and the actual issue of our country. For me, I think those private information is still okay, because it's actually at the actual person, actual citizen, so that they don't have the tactic to say that it's used by some particular parties to overthrow and something like that. Yeah.
They also stress on the importance of public awareness regarding the issue of MPs' absenteeism in Parliament. One signatory added that such absence could potentially affect the work and responsibilities of lawmakers.
First of all, the people should know that this is happening. I think this petition actually makes me aware that they're actually doing this, like not attending for more than 6 months. They get to get paid, things like that. I didn't know about that, but this actually this movement that is being organized by the organizer is actually creating awareness, and that I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
So I think if MP keep absenting the parliament, they might actually get out of touch with what's happening in this country. So they just might not get the main concern of us here, and they might become just a symbol. I mean, already most people already sees MP as just a local council. They're just responsible for all those drains and tree issue. So if they actually attend the parliament more, and they bring actual issues that affect the whole nation.
This is not just about signatures, but about accountability. In just one day, Malaysians from all walks of life came together to send a clear message that parliamentary absenteeism cannot be tolerated. With 425 signatures already collected and growing support behind the movement, this may only be the beginning. Ultimately, democracy depends not only on those elected to serve, but also on citizens who are willing to speak up. In this case, the Rakyat has clearly done so.